I really liked genomics and kind of making disease models and looking into just genetic mutations, things like that, to determine potential diseases that come from these genetic mutations. And so that's kind of what I like so far. I did do some work with the CDC where we also looked at public health data, and we kind of looked at just surveillance data across the entire United States and created visualizations off of that. So I really like the data visualization aspect of bioinformatics as well. So that's kind of where I want to go to.
Wonderful, wonderful. I guess that would lead me to ask, what are your sort of career goals as far as, where you envision yourself within the industry? I know that you're kind of like an early riser, someone who's just now getting into your field.
Yeah, so I definitely am more towards like the industry sector rather than research. And I do know that I'm early career, so I have a lot to learn. But in terms of career goals, I do see myself just working with, I want to do a lot with maybe development of models. What I want to get into is disease risk models, like looking at diseases, kind of seeing what factors affect the diseases, where those diseases are, and kind of creating predictions based off of stats that we have now, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. I noticed you've used Slurm and HPC clusters for large sequence analysis. Could you walk me through, your typical workflow, how you schedule jobs, handle data partitioning, things of that nature?
Yeah, so in my current research right now, I do a lot with working on a cluster at Georgia Tech and performing jobs almost every day because I have projects where I run about maybe 10,000 jobs within a month or two. And so we have resources through my PI, and I choose the number of GPUs and CPUs based off of how high throughput the task is. We do a lot with, I'm not sure if you are familiar, but AlphaFold and FoldSeq, where we predict protein structures for our organism that we're working with and trying to figure out what proteins specifically cause the disease and the interactions that our microbe is working with.
Wonderful, wonderful. Mm-hmm. We plan to integrate an HPC or GPU cluster, with Dell Solutions for, advanced AI workloads and HIPAA-compliant environments. How would you approach designing an end-to-end pipeline from ingestion of patient data to LLM training, on a secure cluster?
Yeah, so starting off with patient data, obviously you have to obtain the data, get all of the information first, and based on how much data we have, then we can go ahead and see what is common in that data and seeing the results from that patient data, whether, for example, if someone's being tested for something and they're positive, seeing the description in the other fields as to why they're positive, maybe their background, where they live, things like that, what they've interacted with, and then kind of find the stats and find just the commonalities between the data, and then after that kind of training the LLM that we want to work with on what to expect when they get specific patient data. So if they're positive and they come from a specific background, then kind of predicting why they're positive, if that makes sense, and just training it so that it kind of has the expectations of current data right now.
Wonderful, wonderful. And if you had the freedom to architect a brand new HPC pipeline from scratch, do you enjoy that level of ownership, designing not just the scripts, but the entire environment itself?
I feel like I don't have much experience with that, so I would love to learn. I'm very fast at learning and picking up on things. I'm good with coding, so I feel like I have that aspect down. But I would love to learn about the overall entire process.
Excellent, excellent. Does the idea of joining a startup in this high growth, somewhat unpredictable phase appeal to you? Or do you see yourself leaning towards more stable corporate environments?
Yeah, so I have had experience with this startup before last summer, but it was not AI based. It was more it was a biotechnology startup. So I did both bioinformatics and web app.
Wow.
And honestly, the opportunity to be able to be so close with the group that I was with, I loved, because in corporate environments, you don't really get to collaborate that much with other people. It's just kind of like you just do the same thing every day. Whereas in the startup that I worked with over this summer, I was able to learn a lot more because I was able to ask more questions to like everybody that I worked with. And then I was also just able to actually talk to people and ask them for help and things like that, rather than just like having to do emails and things like that in order to contact people. So I do like the startup environment a lot more.
Wonderful, wonderful. And for us, we're open to shaping the position so that you can have substantial technical input, especially as we face upcoming funding milestones. Are you the type who wants to influence big strategic sales, or would you prefer a more defined role?
I could you repeat that question, please?
Yeah, so essentially, I got the crux of what I'm asking. Are you someone, you operate by, just having a defined specific role that you do every day? Are you someone that's open to roles that may entail full collaboration of, all your different skill sets?
Yeah, I feel like I'm more open to the second option, with just using all of my skills and like just being open to doing more than one role a day, just because that would probably help with like my experience and like getting expertise in so many different aspects of your company, rather than just like working on one thing every day. So that's what I prefer.
Wonderful, wonderful. I guess from here, I guess I'd open the floor for you if you have any specific questions. Oh, actually, I do want to ask you though, because we were initially, hiring for the biomedical engineering research fellowship, but I recognize that as a candidate, you bring an enormous skill set that could be invaluable to a startup. So I guess I wanted to ask for yourself, with you potentially, with you graduating in May, what are like your salary expectations that you have, as well as prospective start dates, once you confirm, when you'll be able to take on a full-time role?
Yeah, so in terms of my graduation dates, I'm graduating end of April, and so I think I will be able to start May 1st. May 1st, 2025. And then it would be full-time if you guys do have that option available. Otherwise, I'm also happy to do part-time, just because I don't know, I really like the company, and I feel like I could learn a lot from you guys. And as just an early career, since I'm just looking for entry-level early career positions, since I'm just getting out of college, I'm open to a lower salary, maybe around like 50, 60K minimum, I think is what I was hoping for. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, with that, I do want to acknowledge that there's not a definitive limitation as to what your salary would be, but if we confirm that you're someone that we would select, we would of course provide you official offer letter with maybe if that salary range, if you want it to be higher, and we would seek investor approval by conveying that you're a candidate that we think could be a very strategic and valuable resource as far as us integrating our platform into more of a HIPAA compliant infrastructure. And I thought I'd open the floor for you if you have any specific questions.
Yeah, I did have a couple of questions. I did look at your website, and I saw that you guys had a lot of models on your website and a lot of data visualization models. I was just wondering, I guess, how do you determine what models to work on? who gets what projects, things like that? Because I saw that you guys just had a wide variety of different visualizations on your website.
Yes. So right now, as we move towards a more centralized infrastructure, especially as we are looking to be more HIPAA compliant with how we use data and, have a more robust infrastructure with NVIDIA as far as our simulations, we're looking to focus on not just building a large variety, but seeking to categorize them and build libraries of robust simulations that will expand across all types of medical research. And so that's sort of our goal. And I know that will require a larger, database.
Yeah, that makes sense. And like, I guess, do you guys collaborate with other research groups? Like, do you guys make these visualizations for multiple groups, or is it just a personal, like, whatever you guys choose, you guys make visualizations?
Yeah, so our, just to go into a little of our funding model, what you're seeing is sort of like the sort of minimal viable outlook of specific simulations. We're looking to make them far more robust. So to secure, partnerships with medical research firms, and then use it for our biomedical engineering and other medical research cohorts. Because at the crux of what we're doing, we're trying to democratize access to medical research, as a lot of the information has been gatekept. And one of the ways we want to do that is through, being able to make them more broadly accessible, not just to consumers, but also to clinicians and medical research firms. And you mentioned, wanting to work with predictive models as we're moving towards integrating with Hugging Face to work on building a model for our risk assessments. I think your experience in that area could prove invaluable also. So we kind of have an ecosystem here rather than just focusing on medical static research. We're looking at an ecosystem of largely democratizing access to healthcare.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. I think I have one more question. So I did see in like the email that you had sent about the interview that we would be meeting, like if I were to get the position, we would be meeting on a weekly basis, and then there would be like group projects, and I think what's the word? Like learning exercises and assessments. Like, how does that work? Like, if we were to like meet up weekly, like how does that flow go?
Yes, so it's actually fascinating. When you sent your cover letter and your resume, we were not expecting you as a candidate for that. The Biomedical Engineering Research Fellowship was designed for students in that area, not really early professionals. So the whole premise of that was to provide a competitive opportunity where, fellows could interact with different biomedical engineering students from across the United States and collaborate on expansive research projects and real-world application, as well as, using like 3D printers and things of that nature. But as far as these skills that you have, I think they could prove invaluable from a stance of someone who could be in a more full-time role, which is something that we could also explore as well. But the Biomedical Research Fellowship, it's like you'd be grouped with partners. It could be someone in the metro Atlanta area that's also maybe studying something in biomedical engineering or bioinformatics, or someone, across the U.S., and your partner, you would meet at the Atlanta Tech Village and kind of collaborate. And after that, we would issue micro grants to allow further research and basically building sort of a portfolio that you could leverage for future grant funding if you wanted to seek out NSF funding, or you saw an opportunity to look for small business funding. I don't know if you've had interest in being an entrepreneur yourself. I know you said you worked with a startup, but sort of opening the door for building a wide arrangement of skills to leverage within the biomedical engineering space.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Because I do understand like that it was a little unconventional for me to apply for that role, but I'm also like open to full-time opportunities instead of the fellowship too, if that's considered. So yeah, I think that's all of the questions that I had in mind.
Yes. So what I can do is I'll email you. You'll receive an email at the latest on Monday regarding like perhaps an offer letter and what that would entail, that the compensation, things of that nature. And if that was something you're interested in, the additional steps I would, obviously, of course, want to present this information to investors and convey that like we're looking to take on a new hire, and I believe that this person's skill set would be invaluable as we, migrate over to a larger infrastructure. And we'd go from there. I think with the deadline for that being in early February, what we'll be expecting to hear back on in March regarding that. And from there, we'd have a definitive start date, and any additional information that would be conveyed to you in our correspondence. And additionally, if you decide that you wanted to just do the fellowship, we'd kind of operate with next steps as far as what that would entail.
Yeah, all right, that sounds good. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, once again, thank you so much for your time. Very impressive candidate, and I will be emailing you shortly regarding all of that information.
Yeah, all right, thank you so much. It was so nice meeting you.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you. You enjoy your Friday.
You too.
Bye. Bruh, shit crazy.